What up, y'all? It's the homie Dame, and we're once again ranking every anime from an anime studio. This time with Studio Ufotable, or Ufotable, or Ufotable if you're cultured. Last time I made a tier list for every MAPPA anime, and that was like the most controversial one, and even then it didn't even get that many dislikes, so you know what that means. I have free reign to get even more out of pocket this time around. But I mean, it's Ufotable, there's not really anything controversial to say. Alright, as usual, we're just going down the list, doing every Ufotable anime in chronological release order. But I guess this time we'll include some of the OVAs and movies, because otherwise there's not much to talk about, you know? First off, we got White Cross. Pretty good show in my opinion. It's definitely dated at this point. It doesn't really feel like the Ufotable we know and love today, but I don't know. I'd say it's still a solid C tier. I know they only did the sequel season. I have no idea who did the original, but I remember that one just being okay too. Dokoida is next, and I mean, it's pretty good too. It's very much an early 2000s shonen. Like, this is the kind of show that would get a 4Kids dub, and then they'd show it on Toonami or Adult Swim or something. I don't know. Maybe they did actually do that, and I just don't remember. The show is fine though. I mean, it's a bit more clever than you'd expect, if that's the right word to use. Because if you don't know, it's kind of a parody on superheroes, and it's all meta and self-aware, which I always like, but yeah, it's a pretty good show. I'm gonna put it in C tier. Next up, we got Ninja Nonsense, aka the show Demon Slayer wishes it could be. I mean, just look at it. Uzui's wives are clearly rip-offs of our main characters here. Actually, I think her name is Shinobu too, funny enough. No, but for real, I only read a little bit of the manga, so I don't even remember what happens in this series, so yeah. Can't give it a rating. Next we got Futakoi, I guess this is Futakoi Alternative. Whoa, hold up. Actually, I forget if this was a sequel or like a remake of the original Futakoi, which if it's the latter, that'd be weird as fuck because Futakoi literally came out a year before this, so I don't know. But yeah, I think this show is dog shit. I hated it when it came out, and I still hate it now, which is wild because I forgot this show even existed up until right now that I'm looking at it on the list. So it's like randomly seeing your ex post on social media again after years, and then you're reminded of their existence, and it's like, oh yeah, that person still exists. Fuck them. But okay, it's not that bad. The art and animation looks good. I mean, it was 2005, but it's still Ufotable. Me personally, I just thought the writing was really brain dead and uninteresting. It's about hot twins and they fight Nazis, which sounds like the most entertaining premise of all time, but it's not. I'm gonna put this show in F tier. Next up, we got Coyote Ragtime Show. Classic anime, and if I'm remembering it right, I think this was Ufotable's first anime original series, maybe? This is a bit of a weird show, cause it has like a super strong, memorable first episode, and then immediately in the second episode, it takes a 180 and focuses on something completely different, and it's weird and jarring, but it all works out. Mostly. If you don't know about the show, the plot is literally One Piece. A pirate king dies and leaves behind a big ass treasure, and a bunch of people want it. Except it's in space. Personally, I think it's a really good show, and the animation looks really good even today, cause again, it's Ufotable. So I'm gonna say, B tier. Next we got Manabe Straight. Oh shit, wait. Okay, I forgot I was doing OVAs and movies too. Okay, whatever. We'll just talk about all that after we do the regular anime series. So let's talk about Manabe Straight. Or not, because I didn't watch it. I know there's a manga that was also made by Ufotable that may have come out before or after, and I'm pretty sure I read that. Also, I know Yui Horii voices somebody in it, and that's always a W. So yeah, I don't really have anything to say about Manabe Straight. Alright, next up we have the first installment in a small little franchise that Ufotable picked up that you could say was mildly successful for them. You may have heard about it. It's called Fate Zero. Oh man, I'm sure y'all were on the edge of your seat waiting until we could get to talk about Fate. I think in this case, it's worth talking about each entry separately instead of how I usually rank a franchise as a whole. So we'll do this and then Unlimited Blade Works and all that, Heaven's Feel, whatever. We'll do all that later. Fate Zero is very good. It's actually one of my favorite anime of all time. If you're new to this channel, you may not know, but I like to talk about Fate a lot for multiple reasons, but there's one that's bigger than the rest. But yeah, Fate Zero is really good. I know the big complaint is how it butchers the characterization of a lot of characters like Saber or whatever, and that's all completely true, but if you just look at this as a standalone show, which I think is definitely possible to do, It's a masterpiece in my opinion. And even when you do look at it in the context of the Fate series in general, I still think it's one of the best, if not the best, entries in the franchise. I've read the Fate Stay Night visual novel, I've watched every anime entry in the whole series, and I can still say that Fate Zero is better than 99% of them. That 1% is Prisma Ilia, but that's a whole different conversation. Fate Zero is S tier, of course. Next, we got the Garden of Sinners. Oh man. I guess in this case, we can talk about this franchise all as one thing, because if you don't know, this is like an 8-part series of movies, so I'm assuming this is talking about the TV adaptation. It's kind of like how they turned the Mugen Train movie into a short anime season that just covered literally the same events of the movie. But yeah, we can just rank this and then all of the movies together in one thing. The Garden of Sinners is another Kinoko Nasu series of novels similar to Fate. It all takes place in the same Nasuverse as, again, Fate and also Tsukihime. I would definitely say the Garden of Sinners is slightly darker than the Fate series, if that's even possible, but yeah, that's kind of the appeal of it too. It's a weird and complicated series to talk about, especially in the short amount of time that we have here, but I personally think it's alright. So I'm a sort of kind of Fate fan, but I don't really think the anime adaptations are all that good, and it's kind of the same deal with the Garden of Sinners. Except, again, the difference is I'm mildly invested in the characters of Fate and not so much here. But relative to the other shows and movies and OVAs and whatever that Ufotable has put out, I'd say Garden of Sinners is like A tier probably. But next on the list, chronologically, we're back to Fate. Oh man, bet you didn't think Ufotable would do another Fate anime series. Actually, you know what? Considering that people who watch anime are like 14, some of y'all legitimately might not know that Ufotable was originally known as just the Fate Studio. Considering how Demon Slayer is such a worldwide phenomenon now, it might be hard for some people out there to believe that Fate is what popped off Ufotable as a studio, and to this day, it's still one of their flagship franchises. But it don't matter, because eventually in the year 2037, some kid is gonna say the same thing about Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer, that old ass show. Everyone knows Ufotable is only known for the Genshin Impact anime. Anyway, we're talking about Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. Basically, this is just an anime adaptation of the Rin Tosaka route of the original Fate Stay Night visual novel. And again, you might not know this if you're new to the channel, but I'm a big fan of Rin Tosaka. So you could probably imagine that this is gonna be one of my favorite Ufotable projects, right? You know, easy S tier. Wrong, this adaptation fucking blows. No, it doesn't blow. It's just fine in my opinion. This is one of those times where I gotta be that guy that goes, you should have just read the original visual novel instead. Yes, I'm talking about the 80-hour visual novel with dated visuals and uncomfortable sex scenes. I know. Just some light reading. But for real, the anime doesn't do a lot of justice to Shiro's character, and the big fight scenes are a little too goofy and melodramatic for me. C tier for Fate Stay Night. I told y'all, most of Fate is really not that good. Me personally, I'm just here for the twin-tailed Cinderella's. Next up is God Eater. This show is an anime adaptation of a video game I've never heard of in my life. And unfortunately, this show doesn't exactly get me clamoring to play it. This is like the anime equivalent of a Michael Bay movie, but it's even more embarrassing somehow. Look, I don't know. If you like this show, that's cool, because it does have its moments sometimes, and of course, it looks good, sort of. But me personally, I thought this show was mind-numbingly uninteresting. F tier. Next, we got Tales of Zestria the Cross. Another video game based show, this one obviously from the Tales series. I'm not gonna lie, I actually don't remember if I've watched this or not. Y'all know how it is when you watch 1,000,001 different things and it all starts to blend together in your head over the years and you just end up not being able to remember shit. So sorry, I'm sure this is someone's favorite show ever and they'll be in the comments all butthurt that I can't remember anything about it or that I have nothing to say, but what can you do? Now this next one I haven't even heard of, I don't think. It's called Katsugeki Token Ranbu. Okay. Next up, we got Demon Slayer. Yay! Oh my god. Big titty Kanahana character. Woo! Listen, do y'all remember where you guys were when Demon Slayer Season 1 Episode 19 dropped and broke the internet? It's just like how people remember where they were and what they were doing during 9/11, or when Michael Jackson died, or when Soulja Boy released Crank That. A lot of people, especially anime fans, remember when that famous Demon Slayer episode came out and celebrities were like tweeting all about it. All your buddies who haven't even watched anime before started talking about it. I mean, no joke, it really was a big moment. And since then, Demon Slayer has become a cultural phenomenon, not just in Japan, but all over the world. You can attribute a lot of that success to Ufotable delivering an incredible adaptation. I read the Demon Slayer manga from almost the beginning when it was on Shonen Jump, and I'm not gonna lie, it was cool, but Ufotable made it ice cold, as Andre 3000 would say. Say whatever you want about the show and its writing or lack thereof, but I think it's delivered on the big hype moments and will still continue to be one of the big blockbuster shows in the medium for, I don't know, at least the foreseeable future. I'm gonna say Demon Slayer is A tier. Alright, now let's talk about some more movies that Ufotable worked on. We already talked about Garden of Sinners, so let's talk about Yo-Yo and Nate. Oh, fuck. Let's talk about Yo-Yo and Nene, the Little Witch Sisters. Surprisingly, a pretty cool little movie, if you ask me. It has the energy of a Miyazaki movie with obviously the look of a Ufotable show. Take that however you will. I thought the story was aight, but it's more of just a vibe movie. It's definitely one to keep on in the background if you need to distract a bunch of kids for a few hours. I'll put this in C tier. Next is another thing from the Tales series, Tales of Zestria. Never watched it. I don't have anything to say about that. Now we got the Fate Stay Night Heaven's Feel movie trilogy. I know I said earlier that Fate Zero was like the only good thing in the Fate franchise besides Prisma Ilia, but this film trilogy is up there too. Let me just say this first again to reiterate, from a story and character perspective, I don't think any of the Fate Stay Night adaptations are all that good compared to the visual novel. But the Heaven's Feel movies deliver so hard on the visuals and the hype that it almost makes up for that. Watching the first movie, Presage Flower, in theaters in Japan was legit one of the best movie-going experiences of my life. The only one I actually didn't see in theaters was the third movie because, you know, a lot was going on in 2020. But yeah, I'd put the Heaven's Feel trilogy in S tier. Next, we got the Demon Slayer movie Mugen Train, which I guess we could rank separately. I personally really liked the movie. Since I read the manga, I was a little apprehensive as to how this weird arc would translate to a movie, but of course, it all turned out great. Obviously, you're in this for the fight scenes, because it's not like any crazy character moments happen or any mind-blowing writing is there, at least in my opinion. Like, Akaza showing up randomly at the end makes sense in the context of the manga, but if you're just watching this as a self-contained movie that you like took your kids out to on a random Saturday, it's like, what a weird choice to just throw in this unrelated big bad guy right at the end. Again, there is an explanation, but in my opinion, it doesn't make for a very satisfying 2-hour film narrative or however long it was, but who cares? It looks good and there's a lot of flashing lights and a lot of YouTube reactors cried when Rengoku died. It's all very exciting. I'll say Mugen Train is B tier. Alright, and to end things off, we could talk about some OVAs that Ufotable did, although I actually haven't seen a lot of these, damn. I did watch today's menu for the Emiya family though. Okay, I know I said everything in Fate sucked except for Fate Zero, Prisma Ilia, and Heaven's Feel, but this is also another exception. If you watch this channel, you may know that I'm a fan of goofy, lighthearted spin-offs of otherwise dark and serious shows. So shit like this and Carnival Phantasm are unironically some of my favorite entries in the Fate universe. I mean, it has this volleyball scene. What is there not to like? I'll say today's menu for the Emiya family is A tier. Alright, well, that's every Ufotable anime production all nicely, neatly ranked. Or at least all of the ones that I care enough to talk about. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what Ufotable shows you like and or dislike. And you know what? Feel free to be mean about it too, because you guys were surprisingly civil and reasonable in the MAPPA tier list, and it's kind of unnerving. I'm used to anime fans being low IQ and just vehemently attacking anyone with a slightly different opinion, so it's kind of weird seeing people who can comprehend that others may like different things that they do. But yeah, for real, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and donate to Patreon if you want to support the channel. Otherwise, that's the video. Peace. Real talk though, I'm actually really excited for that Genshin Impact anime to come out. Mainly because it'll be a good change of pace, since for the last, I don't know, 5 years, all we've seen from Ufotable is Fate and Demon Slayer. No idea what to expect from it. I just hope we see Best Girl Mona and Best Girl Hu Tao in it, voiced by their respective voice actors from the game, and I'll be happy.